Okay, so I have set the timer for 30 minutes because I think any more and people just don't do it. So the timer is going to go off for 30 minutes. We have half an hour to power through our head-focused Pilates class. So let's just start with our feet in a narrow V position. And I want you to think about spiraling those knees out over the second or even third toe, and then pulling the inside of the ankle bones apart without coming off your big toe. You're going to take your hands into a diamond shape, so thumbs and index finger meet in front of the top of the head. And I want you to press the hand into the forehead. You're going to breathe in. We're going to lift the hands and breathe out and take the hands behind the back of the head. Press the back of the head into the hands. We breathe in, then come back to the front. Breathe out. Press the head into the hands. We breathe in and breathe out. Pressing the head back. And again, breathing in and breathing out and press the head into the hands. From there, fold your hands one on top of the other. Place the hands over the back of the head. And let's just shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and then release those shoulders down and feel really nice and open through the front of the chest. We're still pulling the inside of the ankle bones apart from each other. And we're going to press the back of the head into the hands and then just release. And again, we press back and release. So you might feel your neck is working hard here as you connect into the back line of your neck and your head. And release. Last one, we press back and release. And then we're going to take a roll down. So I want you to keep your hands where they are. And we're going to roll up and over. And I want you to think about pressing the back of the head into the hands as you roll down into that spinal shape. When that spinal shape can't go any further, you allow those hips to roll down as well. A bit tougher on the balance with our hands here. From there, you're going to stretch the hands down toward the floor, and then the hands are now in front of the forehead. And as we roll back up, I want you to think about pressing the head into the hands. You really feel the abdominals working a bit harder as we roll up. Let's take the hands back up. They fold back one on top of the other, back of the head, and we press into the hands, or the back of the head presses into the hands as we roll down, find that C-shaped curve, and then fold down through the hips. We reach the hands long, and then we take the folded hands to the front of the head, press into the hands as you find your standing hips, and then roll all the way back up into standing. Take the hands up and behind the back of the head, coming into a spine twist. So let's just twist to one direction. I want you to think about pressing your head back into your hands as you twist, again, back into the middle. Let's breathe in, press into those hands, and breathe out. You can imagine that there's a pole going down through the middle of the head, down through the middle of the body, and you're twisting around that pole. So in other words, we don't want to kind of lean forwards and lean out. We want to stay over our feet. Last one, we twist, and then back into the middle. You're going to take the hands up towards the ceiling, interlace the fingers, and then take the hands or the interlaced fingers onto the top of the head. Just drop the shoulders down, and we're coming into a side bend. So still pressing down through the balls of your big toes, pulling those ankle bones apart. You're going to think about the rib cage sliding over or leaning over, and then we're going to side bend over. And then back into the middle. So the other side. We take the rib cage, lean the rib cage over, and I want you to think about pressing the top of the head into the fingers to really try and find that lengthened side C shape. Reach the head up into the hands and back into the middle. Slide the rib cage and reach the top of the head into the hands. Back into the middle, last one. Rib cage reach that head up, almost like it's sliding along the ceiling, trying to stay tall. And then the top of the wall. And then lifting back up to standing. We're going to take the hands up, lower the hands down. I just need to change my camera angle slightly to fit the mat in. Perfect. Then we're standing on the mat and we're going to come down into a little crouch. And just for a moment, just let yourself sway side to side. Let the head feel heavy and relaxed. And then when you're ready, do what you need to do with your hands. But if you can, I just want you to sit down onto your bottom. Okay, from there, we are taking ourselves down onto our backs. And I just want you to focus on the back of the body, pressing down into the mat. So we're going to point through the toes, really think about reaching and pointing through the ball of those big toes. I want you to press down through the arms, hug the elbows in towards the rib cage, and just press the back of the head, the back of the shoulder blades, the bottom, and the back of the legs down into the mat, and then release. And again, we press everything down, feel strong through the shoulders and the arms, and release. And last one, we press down and release. And then if you don't want to come into your upper body lift, you can keep the upper body down and just do your arm pulses. But if you want to lift the upper body, we're going to lift the arms in line with the shoulders. Think about sliding the head backwards towards the edge of the mat and then picking up through the neck and shoulders. Hands come over the hips and we're coming into our hundreds. So keep those toes pointed, big toe equal with the little toe. And I really want you to think about stretching the top of the head up towards the ceiling. Nice long in breaths and out breaths. And again, breathe. Reach the top of the head up. We're going to go for 2 more long breaths. Last breath. And then from there, can you roll yourself all the way up into sitting? If you need to, bring your knees in towards your chest and roll yourself up into sitting. From there, you're going to take the hands onto the top of the head and fold them one over the other. And from here, we're going to do a roll down. So I want you to find the start position, so that C-shaped curve, and just think about reaching the top of the head into your hands. My ankles are really flexed as though I'm trying to stand on, on the wall that's facing me. And I'm reaching my head forwards and I'm pulling my bottom rib back to the wall behind me. And then I'm just going to lift a bit more through the back of the throat, still send the top of my head away. From there, I want you to keep reaching the head towards the wall, even though you're starting to roll back off your sit bones. And then the top of the head reaches up towards the ceiling. And how far can you take that? You're not going to go all the way down. You're just trying to open those hips up. And then you're going to think, my head's reaching up towards the ceiling and then towards the wall. My bottom rib is reaching towards the wall behind me. So let's breathe in and breathe out. My head reaches towards the wall. My head reaches up the wall. My head reaches along the ceiling. How far along the ceiling can I take my head? And I'm going to reach the top of the head back along the ceiling and then towards the wall, and my ribs, my bottom ribs are reaching in the opposite direction to my head. Last one here. Let's go. We're lifting the head up towards the ceiling. We're thinking, how far can I slide the top of my head across the ceiling? Whoa, shake. And then I'm going to slide my head back and reach towards the wall. From there, we're going to take our hand out and we're going to do the same thing again. So really reach those heels, and I want the heads to reach up towards the ceiling. Spiral those hips open, lifting up through the head, and we're taking the arms down beside us. Breathe in at the bottom and breathe out. All the way up and over. It doesn't matter if you don't go the full way. Just go to where you feel that you can control this movement. Remember to breathe. Last one here. And actually, we're going to stay down now. So take the hands and fold them one over the other behind the back of the head. And I want you to focus on pressing the back of the head into the hands as we go into our one leg circle. We're just going to do a quick preparation move here. So let's keep the left leg down on the floor with a flexed ankle. And then we're going to bend the other leg and lift up. Now, can you just think about the size of your t-shirt being equal? So you might notice that the leg that's lifted, the hip is hitched up towards your rib cage. So just equal that out by pulling the other hip up towards the rib cage. Okay, so pressing into the back of the head, into the hands. I want you to lift under the lifted leg, to lift under the hip, and you're going to take that leg out to the side, but only as far as you can, keeping the opposite rib cage down. And then we're sliding back across and out to the side. And again, we're coming across, we're lifting under the hip, keeping the rib cage firmly down on the floor and the opposite shoulder. And then over to the other side. Am I still pressing down through my head? Again, we lift under the hip to find that rotation in the pelvis. And back into the middle. And then it's up to you whether you go for straight leg. Mine doesn't like it at all. So I'm going to let myself have a slightly bent knee. And again, to start my circle, I'm going to lift under my hip and across the body, circle down, round, and back to my start position. And again, pressing into my hands, so pressing the back of the head down still, and lifting under my hip, circling down, out to the side and back into the middle. I'm going to lower that leg down. Oh, that's quite enough on that side. Flexing through that ankle now, and we're coming onto our other side. Sorry, so just sides of the t-shirts. We're going to think about keeping those equal. So I'm going to pull my long leg hip up towards my rib cage slightly. Let's change the hands over under the head. Press the back of the head into the hands. Just make sure that your chin stays looking towards the ceiling. And then from there, I lift under my hip and come across. Try not to let that rib cage lift. And then back over and out to the side. Pressing into my hands with my head. Lifting under the hip. And back over. And again, coming across, lift. And back up. Then I'm going to straighten the knee as much as feels okay-ish for my body. And again, we're circling across. So I'm lifting under the hip, circle across, down, around, and back into the middle. And again, I lift under my hip and pressing my head into my hands and back into the middle. Last one, chin towards the ceiling. Circle down, around, out to the side and up, lovely. And then lower that leg back down to the mat. Brilliant, well done. Let's just take our knees, our legs into in towards our center. Ankles in the same height as the knees, sorry. And then from there, the hands are staying behind the back of the head. I want you to think about the back of the head gliding toward the edge of the mat and lifting up through the neck and the shoulders as you come into that C-shaped curve. And then we lower back down again. Let's actually squeeze our legs together. It's really nice. Squeeze those legs together. Again, think about gliding the back of the head towards the edge of the mat, lifting up through the neck, shoulders come upwards and forwards, and then low back down again. Can we now take opposite shoulder towards the opposite hip? So breathe in, and as you breathe out, glide the back of the head and lift up towards the opposite hip. And lower back down. You don't have to have your legs up for this exercise. The feet could be down on the floor, the knees could be bent. I want you to think about keeping a nice space between your chin and chest and that head movement. Glide the head back towards the edge of the mat and we lift up and over. You don't want this to be a lean. We'll do one more to each side. Lower back down. Either take the hands to the front of the shins or the back of the thighs and up. Press into your hands to roll yourself up. Make sure you've got enough mat behind you. Coming into our rolling like a ball preparation we'll do first though. So find your balance point. So lift up through your heels. See how that just takes the weight back. And then just find where you can balance. Then from there, you're going to pull the knees in towards you without falling back. And then release. And now I want you to bring the knees in and pull the head towards the knees. And then release. And again, pull those knees in. Pull the head in. And release. This time, if you want to, we pull the knees in. And then that rolls us back. And then we push the head to roll back up. Try not to feet touch the mat. So again, we pull the legs in, roll back and push the head forwards to roll forwards. Woo, 2 more. Really pull those legs in to start that movement. And place the feet down. Reach the legs long. We're going to take the hands again folded up and behind the back of the head, ready for spine stretch forwards. So I've got wider legs. My legs are just on the inside of the mat. I'm going to push into the back of my head as I flex forwards and over. And then I'm going to reach my hands forwards, fold my hands in the opposite way and take the hands to the front of my forehead. And I'm going to press my head down into my hands as I now unravel through my spine. That's really annoying me. We're going to lift up, change the hands, take the hands to the back of the head, press the head back into the hands as we roll up and over. Keep pressing the back of the head into the hands. We reach the arms forwards, change the hands over, towards the ponytail, and we're going to press the head into the hands as we roll up. Let's do one more of those. Lift, change the hand position, and lower. Press the back of the head up into the hands as we flex up and over. Core. Take the hands forwards, change the hands over to the front of the head. Press the head into the hands. Feel the abdominals working really hard as you sit up tall. Take the arms down beside you. Bring the knees back in towards you. And we're going to take the hands now just around the back of the thighs. So we're coming into a little teaser prep. So you're going to roll off your sit bones, and we've found our balance point again. Just feel happy in this position. Really nice, strong elbows out towards the sides of the room. And then can we have a go at lifting through the legs and lower? So actually, I just need to sink myself back a bit further. So I'm going to roll off my sit bones and find a bit more of a curve. And then from there, I'm going to lift my legs up. And then I might try and take behind my ankles and lift up and lower. Concentration in this one. And again, we're going to lift up. So you could be doing one leg, or you could be just finding the balance position here. That in itself is hard. Then I want you to think about the head staying on top of the spine as we lift up and lower. Last one, we lift and lower. Bring the feet back down onto the mat. Take your right leg reach the upper leg long, and we're going to roll ourselves back, ready for single leg stretch. So again, if you want to do upper body down, that's absolutely fine. Just take the upper body down. I want you to, again, think about the top of the head, reaching up towards the ceiling as you switch the legs over and switch. So try to keep that upper body really high. I want you to almost feel as though you're trying to balance on the waistband of your trousers as you switch legs. Last one. Bringing the knees in towards you, we're going to lower the upper body down onto the mat. And from here, we're going to come into a double leg stretch. Yeah. So we're going to keep the upper body down for this one. And I'd like you to just bring the knees in towards your center, ankles are in alignment with your knees. So pressing down into the back of the head, into the shoulder blades, but we're going to still lift up through the arms. And I would like you to space your palms towards your feet. We're going to take the arms back overhead, but I want you to keep the back of the head and the back of the rib cage pressing down into the mat as we do these arm movements. Open the armpits out towards the sides of the room or the walls. And then you're going to draw C-shaped circles round and then back up in line with your shoulders. So keeping the back line, so keep pressing down into the back of the head, but keep the chin to the ceiling. Pressing into the back of the rib cage as we take the arms overhead. Open the armpits out towards the walls and circle around, keeping that back line into the mat. And last one. Open the armpits and circle around. And then let's just take the knees and just release. Draw circles with your legs. And then we're going to roll ourselves up and into 4-point kneeling. So, heel of the hands want to be a little bit, so in line, sorry, with your shoulders. So the fingers are slightly forwards of your shoulders. Knees are going to be cheekbone distance apart. And here I want us to focus on this part, the lower part of our back moving, and the upper part actually staying nice and still. So I want you to think of the waistband of your trousers lifting up to the ceiling, and almost like you're trying to draw the back of your trousers down towards the floor. And then release out. And again, lift the waistband up towards the ceiling. Draw the back of the trousers down the legs towards the back of the knee. And then release. Last one here. Lifting up through the waistband of the trousers, pulling the back of the trousers down towards the floor. And then release. And we're going to sway forwards and back now. So I want you to now think about the tailbone sitting nice and long. So try and keep the length through your spine. And we're going to sway ourselves back. Don't let your pelvis tuck under. So the tailbone reaches towards the wall behind you, but the top of the head reaches towards the wall in front of you. And only go back as far as you can control until you feel that pelvis tuck under. And then you're going to sway forwards. And as you sway forwards, reach the head forwards to the wall in front of you, but reach the tailbone to the wall behind you. And again, we sway backwards, but reach that tailbone backwards and reach the head forwards at the same time. So you're finding so much elongation. And then sway forwards and reach the tailbone to the wall behind you. And then you're going to sit yourself back into child's pose stretch. Just release the wrists. Take a couple of breaths here. Just think about the head being heavy. Quick time check. Right, we've got 5 minutes. Trying to allow that rib cage to lift up away from the legs. From there, we're coming down into swan. So the hands are under the shoulders. You're hugging the elbows in towards your sides. Kneecaps looking down towards the floor. Now here, as we usually think about, so I want you to just lift it to the back of the throat slightly as you reach your chin towards the front of the mat. And then we're just going to carry on lifting up, and then we press through the hands to lift the hips up with us. And then we're going to bend through the elbows, keep the head on top of the spine, and then reach the top of the head towards the wall in front of you. And again, reach the top of the head to the wall in front of you. Almost draw a line with your nose up towards the edge of the mat. Keep that head on top of the spine, and then press through the hands to lift up through the hips. Keep lifting that head up towards the ceiling. Hug those elbows in towards you. And we lower that down. Let's breathe in. Last one, breathe out, lift into the back of the throat. Lift the chin towards the edge of the mat. Pop that head on top of the spine. Then press through the hands. Feel that lovely up body opener. Bending through the elbows. Keep the head on top of the spine. And then lower down. From there, you're going to hover the arms out to the sides. And we're just going to lift into the back of the throat. I want you to think about really reaching the top of the head towards the wall in front of you. And we're just going to push the arms down and press the palms into our thighs. And we back into a T. And again, we press the palms down into the sides of the thighs. And back into our T. Two more. We press. And T, last one. We press, and my upper body is hovered from the mat. And back into the T. And then lower your upper body down to the mat. Fantastic. From there, take yourself onto your sides. You're going to come onto the elbow, and the head is cupped to the hand. And from there, let's put the other hand in front of us for a bit of balance. The feet are going to be slightly forward, so I've got a very small bend in my hips. And I just want you to press the head into the hand to feel that lift almost under your armpit and your rib cage, and then release. And again, press the head into the hand, feel the lift and release. And then we're going to press, keep that connection there. And we're going to point the toes, and we're going to lift and lower. And again, we lift and lower. Keep pressing the head into the hands for the lift through the rib cage. And we lift and lower. Then we're going to lift the top leg to just above hip height. Join with the bottom. And then lower the bottom leg and lower the top leg. Let's point both of those feet, keep it tidy. So we lift the top leg up, keep pressing the head into the hands. We join and we lower. Last one, lift and join and lower. Fantastic. Roll onto your backs, ready for shoulder bridge. So here we're going to be pressing down into our shoulders, into our elbows, into our hands, into every single fingertip. The feet are a little bit closer in towards the bottom. Feet are cheekbone distance apart. We're going to roll that pelvis in towards us as we pick up, thinking about sending the weight over the feet. So keep the weight in the feet. Open up the creases around the front of your hips and your trousers. And then try and keep that pelvis as long, as high as you can, for as long as you can, as you roll all the way down, and then find the weight into the base of your spine again. Let's take a breath in, chin to ceiling, press into the arms, that gentle press of the back of the head into the mat as you roll up, keeping the weight into the feet as you come all the way up into your shoulder bridge. Take a breath in and breathe out. Keep that pelvis high as you roll down, and then weight back into that tailbone. From there, you're going to switch over to the other side. So I'm going to switch over this way for our sides on the other side. My timer's going to go off any second. So find that connection, press the head into the hand and feel that lift, that very subtle lift through the side of the rib cage. Let's point those toes and we're going to lift the top leg and lower. Breathing. Last one here. Give 2 more actually. And then finding your leg just a bit higher than hip height, we're going to join the bottom leg and then lower the bottom leg and lower the top leg. And we lift up and join and lower and lower. There's my timer. I'd like 2 more of those. Lovely. And then from there, you're going to roll onto all fours. Curl your toes under. Heels of the hands in line with the shoulders. Legs at cheekbone distance apart. And from there, keeping your flat back, imagine I'm sliding a credit card under each knee as you lift. Keep the top of the head reaching towards the wall in front of you. Tailbone reaches to the wall behind you. And lower. And again, we lift. This time we're going to stay. And I'd like you to just lower down through one knee and then level the pelvis out again. And the other side, we come down and level up. Down and up. Keep reaching the top of the head and keep reaching the tailbone in the opposite direction. Feel that length through the spine. 1 more on each side. Lovely. And then from there, lower those knees down. Walk your hand back towards you. Find a little crouch position. Let the head just feel nice and heavy. Take a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, start straightening those legs. I want you to press down into the heels. But before we roll up, we're going to fold the hands and pop them in front of the head. Now press your forehead into your hands and keep that connection as you find your standing hips. Once those hips are facing forwards, keep the head pressing into the hands as you roll all the way up. And then from there, we're going to lift the hands up towards the ceiling, change the hands over, and then towards the back of the head and press. And then we lift up, change the hands over towards the back of the head and press. Last one, up, change, forehead, press, then lift both of the hands up, turn the hands out towards the sides of the room and press yourself up, almost like your head is growing up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in and breathe out. My head was cut off the last bit there, and give yourself a round of applause. Well done.